Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Now, Egypt and its North African neighbors face significant terror threats, economic pressures, and political uncertainty. With a year of regional turmoil behind them, a rocky future looms on the horizon. Edwin Ajibo in Cairo reviews 2017 and takes a look at what may lie ahead in 2018.
Egypt suffered a series of major terror attacks against civilian and military targets in 2017, causing significant loss of life and economic damage. As the Islamic State group crumbles, analysts predict more violence to come.
Because the so-called Islamic Caliphate is collapsing in Syria and Iraq, we will then see, a massive return of some of these jihadists who would be able to penetrate within the communities of North Africa.
That's nice.
Both Tunisian and Egyptian security forces have battled Islamic militants infiltrating from neighboring Libya, a cauldron of political chaos and terrorism. Rival Libyan governments have complicated the already thorny security situation across vast swaths of the country and its porous border. Analysts say a political solution is key.
Libya, which is very strategic within that region, that acts some kind of like a bridge between that region of North Africa and Central Africa, part of areas like Mali, Chad, Niger, and then towards the Mediterranean in Europe. If we still have this kind of instability within Libya, then it would be difficult, for most of these North African countries to be able to deal effectively with the situation.
With 95 million people, Egypt is the Arab world's most populous country, and its security and economic situation affects both the Middle East and North Africa. A troubled economy represents a huge risk.
The GDP is not rising, no sources of revenue have been created, and tourism has not picked up.
A big hurdle for Egypt in 2018 will be the presidential elections happening amid a bitter divide between Islamists and liberals who are not necessarily on the side of incumbent President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi.
On the political front, clearly there is no reconciliation happening in the country. The division is becoming very clear.
Algeria, the Arab world's second largest country, also faces political and security challenges in 2018, as many expect incumbent President Abdelaziz Bouteflika to run for a fifth term. Like Egypt, Algeria has a large population of young people who feel they have no say in their future. Providing jobs for them, analysts say, is the most serious challenge facing regional leaders in 2018.
You have North Africa, which has a growing population of young people who are disenfranchised, young people who are unemployed. So we have to be looking towards building capacity, towards looking at prevent programs within communities.
Analysts say if regional governments do not find solutions to the increasing droves of unemployed young people, the ongoing tragedy of refugees trying to flee by sea to Europe is likely to get worse, threatening the stability of Europe and the likelihood of more lives lost at sea. Edwin Ajibo for VOA News, Cairo.
5 communities in Nsukka, Enugu State, southeast Nigeria, are getting off to a good start in the new year as the government begins building access roads planned for completion by the end of the first quarter. According to local government officials, the road construction, worth over 68 million naira, is in line with the state government's rural development agenda. Channels Television's correspondent Monica Ajogu filed this report.
In most rural areas, plants abound as much as buildings, and to a large extent, one can enjoy the environment in its natural state. At the markets, agricultural produce fresh from the farm at rock-bottom prices can be a thrill. But an uncommon sight are these giant machines on these typically dusty roads in Nsukka local government area of Enugu State. There are many of them around, and they'll be here for some time as road construction begins in earnest in 5 communities. This is the construction of 17-kilometer roads in Edem and Leja communities, which for the agrarian people means better access to the markets and urban areas.
You can see the agro life that we have. We are richly blessed. But then everything due to poor preservation, power and electricity, you cannot access the urban to trade whatever you have cultivated or harvested rather. So we live and die in this Los Angeles, call it them, you know. So our efforts, especially the peasant farmers, has never been yielding any positive results. They're also finding it difficult to train our children because we cannot even sell what we produce.
In Ungu, Echara and Ibagwani communities, their joy knows no bounds as the building of over 30-kilometer roads, when completed, will improve local economies and in turn standards of living.
We have come to restore our faith in government. We have come to restore our interest in politics. We have come to restore our economic lost virtues. We have just come to restore life by resuscitating this road.
The chairman of Nsukka local government area says the projects in the 5 communities are planned for completion by the end of the first quarter of 2018, and similar projects will be replicated in other areas.
We have so many other ones to do in the eastern part of the local government and the southern part of the local government. We're just facing the central, and that's the west, and the central. That's where we are focusing on. But by mid-January, please God, we should be going to other zones in the local government.
Whether in cities or rural areas, road infrastructure remains critical for development. Local government authorities have a duty to make economic recommendations to state governments for implementation, especially those aimed at addressing infrastructural deficits such as roads.
It's time now for a short break. As we do go, we remind you to visit our website, channelstv.com, for news and other programming around the clock. You can also find us on youtube.com/channelsweb. Still to come, the boxing grannies of Johannesburg. These ladies know how to fight back against aging. That story after the break.